Jim, let's talk about GM.
Right.
The really hitting the headlines today. CEO is out of there. So, I mean, really, is this company just a bondholder company? Or the shareholders have anything in this game?
No. I mean, I keep trying to distinguish all these different paradigms. There's the AIG, which ended up being largely owned by the government, but that was because a lot of contracts could not be fulfilled otherwise. And that would have been another Lehman Brothers. There's the Fannie and Freddie, but they were already associated. They're government-sponsored enterprises.
And they just kind of went back to the government.
And then there's the GM and Citigroup, and I think they're very similar. I think that Citigroup, you see what happens when they let the bondholders, pretty much the preferred holders, take a lot of the common stock. And then there was a short squeeze because the ARBs got the ratio wrong. I mean, I think GM it's conceivable that with the bonds trading where they are in various prices, that GM common stocks is going to be entirely owned by the bondholders and very watered down. I mean, why anyone thinks that GM common can be protected is I don't fathom it. And yet I know that what happens is that there's a tremendous retail cohort that says, wow, GM, I can buy it at 2. They don't understand how the bondholders could end up taking it over. So, Deborah, I find that the thinking in GM is, well, hold it. They don't need the additional $2 billion, which was a story from a week ago. Let's buy GM from 2 to 3. Oh, well, hold it. Wagner's gone. Looks like the government's going to confiscate it. Let's sell it down to 2. Maybe the next bit of news is that the company's got to say, selling a property for something. This is a wave story, but if you ask me ultimately what it's worth, it's going to turn out to be pennies on the dollar. Nobody wants to hear that, and my experience when I talk about these kinds of stocks is that people will say, well, wait a second, it went from 2 to 3, and you caught a 50% move in the time that Cramer said that it was worthless. But understand that this is one where there's just a huge amount of debt, and you're not going to let those bondholders get nothing. They're going to own the company.
Well, yeah, because they wanted the bondholders to shift over to the equity, and they were like, no way.
I mean, they couldn't have to sweeten enough. But I look at the GM common, and I think that it's just to be avoided. I know that it did run from 2 to 3, but that was probably wrong. And I think once you see the structure of the either bankruptcy or of the cram down of bonds, you will say of common stock, you will say, why did I own the stock? I mean, very similar when AIG was at 4, it went to 1.
Sadly, American Icon is really
doesn't matter.
10, 20 cents.
Exactly.
All right, thank you, Jim.